Hello and welcome to this video. We are going to talk about an article in Newsday, and the irony about this article coming out was an experience I had last night on the train, which I didn't take a video of, but I'll tell you before I get started with this article that I was on the train going from Belmore to Rockville Center last night, Saturday night. The train was the 7:45, I believe, 7:45 train, and I had to go to the bathroom. Sometimes after I eat, if I don't allow enough time, or I always drink a lot, I have to drink a lot of fluids because I don't want to have to deal with kidney stones. So, I have to go to the bathroom. So I get on the train and I get in the first car and there's somebody in the first bathroom. And a couple minutes go by, he doesn't come out. And, me and a couple of other riders say, open the door. Basically somebody's hiding in the bathroom, And we bang on the door. I was yelling at him, you know what I mean? Get out of the bathroom, bum, whatever. But, it was infuriating. And I said, I didn't vote for this. None of the other riders really said anything, but I didn't vote for this. I voted for Lee Zeldin. I didn't vote for this crap. All right? This is what happens in Oakles, New York. So I go to the next car because I really got to go bad now. And the same damn thing. There's another bum in that bathroom. I saw him go in there. The hoodie and everything. He was up to no good. Again, try to get the door open. I said, I need to go. And he's like, I need to go. And this bum opens the door. He opens the door a little bit. He has one of those e-scooter things. And he's not using the bathroom at all. He's just sitting in there. And I'm like, you're hiding in there. And he's like, yeah, I'm hiding. And he closes the door. And so I go to the next car. And at this point, we're almost at Rockville Center. And I tell the conductor, give him my ticket. And I was like, there's somebody hiding in the bathroom. The conductor doesn't even care. And when the conductor walks into the car, the bum in the bathroom hears it. Then he opens the door and buys a ticket on his phone. So anyway, let's read this article. It was very annoying. I had to get off in Rockville Center and run to the nearest restroom, Starbucks, because, you can't count on using the restroom on the train anymore. And a number of them are out of order, too. Tonight I needed it, and it was out of order. Luckily, I didn't need to go too badly. I was able to make it home. So, anyway. More riders refused to pay. The LIRR gave out nearly $1.4 million in IOUs last year to riders who didn't have fare and collected less than $60,000. So, here we go. We're going to read this article here. Unpaid LIRR trips, it says right here. This is a pretty long article. It says zoom it in for you. Of course, it's using this thing, and I don't like using it. Just to make it easy to zoom in. Where's the thing to zoom? Come on, where is it? Stupid program. So normally I open them up in the browser, and there's no real thing to zoom it in here. Find? No, I need to zoom it in, but you don't have a thing for me to zoom it in. I'm sorry about this delay, folks. There it is. All right, hopefully you can read that. So this is the article right here. Long Island Railroad last year handed out more than 100,000 invoices to passengers who said they could not pay for their train tickets, a nearly 30% increase compared with 2019 when the railroad carried substantially more riders. Even while billing riders for nearly 1.4 million in unpaid tickets last year, the railroad got back less than 60,000 of the delinquent fares, according to railroad figures. Acknowledging that the railroad's antiquated system of sending non-payment LIRR riders home with IOUs isn't working, Metropolitan Transportation Authority Chairman and CEO Janet Lieber has vowed change, including in the form of stepped-up police enforcement. Yeah, they should just be kicked off the train. If you don't have the money to pay, then you should be kicked off the train. It's that simple. The number of fare evasion arrests across the MTA's two railroads have already tripled compared with last year. The MTA police is looking at how they can handle the situation when someone is basically refusing to pay the fare. Lieber said in an interview at Jamaica last month, adding that the agency is looking for a solution in which fare beaters don't delay the train but don't get a free ride. On Friday, Lieber condemned the invoices in the strongest terms yet, saying it's important that there's confidence in the system. Well, I agree with him on this, but Again, it's out of control with this. You see people who aren't paying. It starts to raise the question, why am I the sucker who should be paying when these other cats aren't? Exactly. He said in a Long Island Association meeting. Yeah, it's annoying. I mean, I went to the car and I was actually looking for the conductor to tell him what was going on. You know? Under LIRR policy, passengers who say they are unable to pay for a ticket are issued an invoice for pay not famed, also invoice for pay not paid, also known as ADL 6009 form, and directed to mail payment to the railroad. So here are some statistics. The LIRR has issued more than 100,000 invoices last year to passengers who said they could not pay their fares and received just 5% of the delinquent fares. You know, if they don't pay, a warrant should be issued for their arrest. How about that? The number of invoices issued rose nearly 30% since 2019, even as ridership pay fell by 42% because of the liberal law. Because we have a lot of these bums and felons that are out there, people who should be in jail that are riding the trains and causing problems in our community instead of being in jail where they belong. That's why we're going through this. Acknowledging that the system of issuing IOUs to fare beaters isn't working, the MTA officials have said they are making several policy changes, including by having more police more frequently intervene in fare disputes, and I agree with that. Even while criticizing the invoice system, experts, commuters, and labor leaders have said several obstacles are in the way of improving it, including the potential to delay trains if police become involved. So, according to the data obtained by Newsday, let's move this over a little bit here. Hopefully you can see that a little more. According to the data obtained by Newsday through state public records laws, the number of invoices issued by LIRR conductors to riders rose by 28% from 75 in 2019 to 100,417 in 2022, and was on pace to grow significantly higher this year. Meanwhile, the number of invoices eventually returned with payment has shrunk during that time, from 14% in 2019 to 5% last year. The LIRR's figures show it billed riders who did not pay for their tickets on board. Wow, 1 million? Yeah, that's crazy. It's a big number. I can't even read it. That's up 31% from 1,053,490 in 2019. Ridership fell from a modern... this is what I have to deal with. Let's listen to the smoke alarm. All right, I'll keep reading. This happens every night. This is what it is when you live in a shithole apartment with shit people that don't give a shit about anybody. Anyway, getting back to what I'm saying. I'm reading the article. I'll find a way out of this place. I'm not giving up yet. I deserve better than this. Anyway, happens every night. Happens every night. Anyway, the railroad collected nearly 59,790 of last year's delinquent fares, around 6%, and the problem was only getting worse during the first part of 2023, according to the LIRR's figures. Through the first 5 months of the year, the LIRR has issued nearly 55,200 invoices, 70% more than it did during the first 5 months of 2022. The railroad billed for a total of $767,954 during the first 5 months of 2023, and only collected about $24,133 of that, or 3.14%. That is really bad, because there's no teeth to it. You know, like I said, the warrant should be issued for your arrest if you don't pay. What happens if you don't pay a ticket? You get a warrant issued for your arrest. Well, the same thing should happen with these people. As fare evasion has risen on the LIRR, so too have frustrations among paying customers who in August saw their latest fare hike. East Rockaway commuter Stephen Berger said that since returning to being a full-time commuter about 3 months following the COVID-19 pandemic, he oversees conductors handing out invoices to riders who refuse to pay their fares all the time, and I see it too. And every time I'm like, why are they not paying? Why would they? Said Berger, who believes in recent years many riders have wised up and figured out they can do this. Berger added, it's a terrible system, but I couldn't tell you a better one. The MTA, well, if they had a warrant issued for their arrest, they would pay. That's the bottom line. That's what should be done. That's an easy solution right there. That should be brought up at the next committee meeting. That's a great idea. But the liberals would be upset about that, wouldn't they? Anyway, getting back to the article, the MTA said fare evasion costs about $700 million a year across its agencies, including New York City subways, buses, Metro North, and the LIRR. LIRR on Friday called the system a bureaucratic means of addressing a problem. On the Long Island Railroad, there's this historic pattern of effectively giving out IOUs. Very quaint, right? Somebody says, I'm not paying, and you say, here's a little piece of paper, send your money, LIRR said. These are fare evaders. You need to give them tickets. I'd do more than give them tickets. I think they should be spend the night in jail. And people who are repetitive need to be subject to arrest and be ejected from the train. We are moving in that direction. Okay, so he does say subject to arrest. That's good. In May, MTA released a report prepared by a panel of experts that analyzed the problem of fare evasion. And let's see, we got to go over here. It's a big article. And proposed strategies to deal with it. Among them, here's the chart, by the way. You can see how much the invoices have gone up. Among them, setting up physical fare gates, as are in place at commuter railroads in Boston, New Jersey. New Jersey has some of them, believe it or not, I believe. In St. Louis, that requires riders to present their tickets before boarding. The report acknowledged that allowing customers to receive invoices for payment by mail is one of the most difficult and challenging evasion issues facing its two railroads. This list of customers with a documented history of fare evasion is lengthy, particularly on the LIRR, the report said. This suggests that some customers have become aware of the onboard invoicing option and are deliberately exploiting it to effectively ride for free. Well, of course, they're criminals. They're basically robbing the Long Island Railroad. Following the release of the report, MTA officials have said they work with railroad unions and police to devise a new strategy to deal with fare disputes, having cops more frequently remove non-paying customers from trains and addressing the situation at a station platform, including, if necessary, an arrest. Now, when I first started taking trains, when I first started taking the public transit, I guess sometime in the 90s on my own, there was a lot more enforcement. I mean, people, you would never think of getting on the train and not paying. The police would come and they would arrest you. Now, because we've had, limousine liberal Democrats running the state, they don't want to hurt the criminals' feelings anymore. We need to go back to law and order. And again, this wouldn't be a problem if Lee Zeldin got elected, or even Tom Suozzi. We would have had law and order. But we've got Kathy Crime Wave Hochul instead, as Curtis Sleewa calls her. Good name. Anyway, according to the MTA, police figures through October 31st, fare evasion arrests across the authority's two railroads, the LIRR and Metro North, were up 210% from 72 in the first 10 months of 2022 and 223 during the same period this year. Okay, that's good. But they're just going to get summonses. I think they should be in jail. All right? Just like we need to be starting putting people who shoplift and steal from stores in jail. Because the stores are closing because people are stealing from them and they're losing too much money. That's another problem in New York. Summonses for failure to pay a fare or present a ticket are also doubled during that period, from 253 to 516. What we realized, we're going to look into trains and look at fare evaders as a dispute and trying to solve the problem on the train. Hence, it's not a dispute, it's a crime. Hence, we're inconveniencing thousands of passengers, MTA Chief of Police John Muller said. When we looked at that, we said this is upside down. And what we have to do is we have to take the fare evader off the train. Yes, take them off the train and put them in jail. Anthony Simon, who heads the union representing the LIRR conductors, confirmed that police have been more involved in fare disputes as of late, but said several factors can determine whether a passenger is removed from a train, including weather, location, and the availability of police. There was a time when you didn't pay, they would throw you off in the middle of the woods. Yeah. Those days need to come back. LIRR leaders have long called for increased police assistance in resolving fare disputes, especially as they sometimes result in hostility toward train crew members, as when an LIRR passenger who refused to pay his fare allegedly assaulted two conductors. in Brooklyn in March. Now, you used to be going away to prison for 7 years when you were, did that. I guess they don't do that anymore, right? The confrontations between our train crews and riders just unwilling to pay has led to an all-time high of harassments and assaults that we are feeling to this day, said Timon, who called for a realistic and, here's the next page here, an enforceable policy to stop the blatant theft of LIRR service. That means moving away from an invoice system that has become unmanageable due to the lack of consequences for repeat abusers. A 2019 audit by the state comptroller Thomas DiNapoli also criticized the invoice system, under which customers have 14 days to return payment before accruing penalties. After 60 days, again, they should have a warrant issued for their arrest. After 60 more days, riders with 6 or more offenses can have their cases sent to a collection agency. They should have a warrant issued for their arrest. The invoice warns riders that non-payment could result in a negative credit report. But the audit found the LIRR did not always follow up on invoices and only made limited efforts to find non-paying riders. The audit noted that the LIRR keeps a database of the top 800 individuals who have requested 7 or more invoices with a total value of over $100. Conductors are armed with the list and must contact police if a person on the requests another invoice, according to the audit. But a memo circulated in April by the Conductors Union, the International Association of Sheet Metal, Air, Rail, and Transportation Workers, that's SMART, points out that passengers need not provide identification in order to be issued an ADL 6009 invoice. So that is a big problem right there. Not required to provide identification. They can make up any name. As long as a passenger shows a willingness to pay, provides a name and an address, and is not on the ADL offender list, it may be issued. The union member also illustrates conductors' reluctance to escalate fare disputes on trains, telling members they should never tell a passenger they must exit the train, nor threaten them or say the word police. That's the problem. Nobody wants to do anything. Possible penalty increase. LIRR Commuter Council Chairman Gerard Brinkman has advocated for getting police more involved in fare disputes, but also acknowledged that doing so could delay a train and inconvenience the people who are paying their fares, which is the vast majority. While acknowledging that there is no simple solution, Brinkman commended the MTA for acknowledging that the fare evasion on the LIRR has gotten a little bit out of control, so it has to be addressed. Of course, they're not bringing up the people hiding in the bathrooms. All businesses write off a little bit of loss, just like your local retailer writes off X amount for shoplifting. This is the mass transit version of shoplifting. It is. You can't write it off because word gets around. They'll give you an invoice and you don't have to pay it. So it has to be addressed. Although the invoice system remains in place, the increased police involvement means that the railroad's reliance on it has been reduced dramatically. MTA officials said they are taking other measures to address fare evasion on the LIRR, including by deploying new ticket collecting strategies and increasing messaging to riders about fare payment options, including through the MTA's mobile app Train Time. The Transit Authority is reviewing other recommendations from its panel of fare evasion experts, including creating a system of increasing fines for repeat fare evaders and working with lawmakers and prosecutors to increase penalties for frequent offenders. The MTA's Permanent Citizens Advisory Campaign, oh God, they're going to quote her, Committee Executive Director Lisa Daglian, also involved with Fraudsters Alliance, who has no business being in the PCAC, and who is an absolute snob, who sat on the fare evasion panel, noted that some of the recommendations aim to address underlying equity issues. That can include discounting fares for passengers up to 17 years old and creating a government-subsidized reduced fare program in Nassau and Suffolk County, similar to New York City's fare fares. Well, I think what we should be able to do, we need Omni for this, though, is to be able to transfer between Nice Bus and the train for, say, a local ride. So let's say you're taking Nice Bus and you take the train because there's no service on Nice. You should be able to do that in one fare. You shouldn't have to pay twice. And I've had to pay twice a lot. When I'm like going from Belmore to Rockville Center, I have to get the ticket for Belmore to Rockville Center and then I have to pay again on Nice Bus. It should be a transfer. Anyway, getting back to this. I mean, this is going off topic here. Why is Lisa Daglian going off topic? But that's Lisa Daglian for you. Bring a program like that. Of course, they should have interviewed Charlton from Passengers United. Why didn't they? Bring a program like that to the railroad would help increase the number of people who could afford to ride the railroad, said Daglian, who agreed the railroad should move away from responding to fare evasion with an IOU. Yes, but most of these people that aren't paying, it's not that they can't afford it, they just don't want to pay. They're criminals, Lisa. But she's a limousine liberal. She doesn't get that. It's a relic. It's a legacy, Daglian said. It's definitely a system that doesn't work. And is that it for the article? So she gets the last word. That pisses me off right there. So Lisa Daglian gets the last word. It shows you Newsday. They don't even talk about the bathrooms. They don't even talk about the bathrooms in this article. No, they don't even talk about that. Yeah, so there you go. That's this article right here. Again, I mean, it was the front page in Newsday today. It's really South. Let's see if South Shore 12 does a story about this. But this is it. People are refusing to pay. Now, can I zoom out? Let's see. Do it? Yeah, here we go. So this is the article right here. Luckily, a friend was able to get it for me, and I can make a video about this because this is a big deal. And again, just like with the Pine Beetles, Newsday missed some points, and they should never interview Lisa Daglian. They should have interviewed Charlton from Passengers United. Absolutely not Lisa Daglian. What a mistake that was. But Newsday, South Shore 12, they're all embedded with the snobs and Wall Street and Fraudsters Alliance, so that's not a surprise. Because if Riders Alliance, it's really Fraudsters Alliance. They represent Wall Street. They don't represent the people who take public transportation. The person who runs the whole thing drives to all her meetings. She doesn't even take, what's her name? I forgot her name. I don't want to know. Oh, Betsy Bloom. That's it. You can't even make a name like that up. I mean, it's ridiculous. But anyway, yeah. But they don't even talk about people hiding in the bathroom. No. It's not that they can't afford the fare, Lisa. It's because they're criminals, Lisa, and they need to be in jail. That's what it is. All right? They're thugs. You look at all these people, they got hoodies on. They're up to no good. They need to be in jail, Lisa. Well, put them in your community, see how you like it. She probably lives in an enclave in the city. I think she lives in Astoria or something, right? So anyway, that's all. Thank you for watching. And again, good article by Newsday, somewhat, but they still they should have never interviewed Lisa Daglian. That I'm extremely disappointed in. I think very disappointed in that. They should have not interviewed her and had to have the last word. Yeah, no, criminals belong in jail. That's the root problem. That's all representing of everything going on in the state right now. But we've got limousine liberals running the show who want to coddle these criminals because they're living in their enclaves. They don't have to deal with the criminals in their enclaves. We do, and we're tired of it.